Hello there, I am Echo Tree, and I'm going to be submitting Costume Quest to any %. This is a super fun, cute, wholesome action-adventure game themed around Halloween and collecting costumes, so let's get right into it. Now, this is a sequel to Costume Quest 1, but the only thing you need to know is that it's Halloween nights, we're kids in costumes trying to trick-or-treat, and we just came out of this mysterious portal. We're trying to get home, but we're going to go into this new one and start a new game here. So time's going to begin when we select new game in 3, 2, 1. There we go. We're going to play as Reynold here, one of the two twins. There's Reynold and Ren. We're going to start with these costumes, but we're not going to keep them for very long because we're actually going to jump into a mysterious time portal here. We are skipping a lot of the cutscenes. But we are going to collect these new costumes, a candy corn and a superhero. There we go. And then we're going to talk to Crovis here. This is the tutorial crow who's going to teach us how to fight. This tutorial lasts about a minute, so very quick compared to other game tutorials, which is nice. But here you can see the whole premise of the game. So we are these kids, playing in these costumes, but really we are transported into these grown-up versions of these costumes. So we're playing as a grown-up superhero. There's gonna be a lot of different costumes throughout the entire run. There's a ghost, there's a hot dog, a wizard, a pharaoh. We're gonna get to play as a lot of them, so stay tuned for that. But right now we are just learning how to attack, defend here. But the last ability that Corvus is going to teach us is our special, which would be that little meter that fills up below our health bar. Perfect, thank you Corvus. On to our next adventure here. We are jumping in this portal to the past. So this is before we were born, actually. This is our first fight that we are going into, and these are the cronies. These are the sort of main default enemies of the entire game that we're going to see walking around here. So cronies to start off with are pretty easy. For this particular fight, we actually are not going to defend. It is actually faster to not defend. This is the only time we're going to be doing that though, because we are going to be healing before our next battle. We do have our two characters here, the superhero and the candy corn, but only the superhero can attack at the moment. The candy corn is the only costume in the game that you cannot actually attack with, because it just transforms into a giant candy corn. But it does have these nice little dialogue lines. There's about 100 or so written in the game code, so kind of fun to see which ones you get. Candy corn was born in Philadelphia, there you go. But one more hit with our superhero and this enemy is going to be defeated. There we go. So now we're going to meet our next new character here, which is Monty. Monty's struggling with a gator, and all the gators took his supplies for his Halloween costume, which was a clown. So we're gonna get these specific gators to give us back our costume materials here. There we go. And for each costume, you need 3 pieces and the diagram. So Monty's gonna get the diagram back. There we go, he got it. And he's actually gonna join our team as well, so we're gonna have 3 characters fighting with us. Perfect. He's gonna teach us how to switch costumes from our main characters as well. And the clown can use an ability in the overworld, so that would be the horn. And we're gonna use it to scare some of the gators away. And get them to move so we can collect different costume pieces. There we go. So here's our first costume piece. Dino slippers. If you can guess what our next costume is going to be, it is a pterodactyl. So we're going to use the clown horn to get the gator to move and collect this next costume piece here. There we go. Now we're going to go all the way up here to the French Quarter, dodging that enemy. Well, that kid in a banana suit's not an enemy, but the other guy was. Alright, and we're gonna talk to this lady over here. Now, she needs help with her band. There's not really much of an audience. So what we're gonna do is play our clown horn at some people and get them to come over to our band. We're also, while we're here, trick-or-treating at specific houses to get some experience for later battles. There we go, and now that we got 3 people, we are going to perform in the band with her. So this is a fun little thing we get to do. Sort of a mini game really, but it's a pretty easy mini game. You just hit the right button when it comes up. But we're our little clown dancing, grooving, playing our little squeaky horn. And everyone loves it. So at the end of this, we are going to get music cred, which is going to help us perform for a real band. There we go. We leveled up, and we actually do all of these little side quests here. Well, I guess they're not really side quests, they're required for the main story. But we do them earlier because they help us level up and make the battles easier when we have to do those. We attack more, we get higher HP with higher level. Here we go, we're gonna go all the way down here and into this jazz club. And now that we performed for the street band, we got some credibility, we're ready for the big stage here. So we're performing with Mink and his jazz band because their horn player wasn't here. So they had an opening and we get to play here for a little bit, squeaking our little clown horn. You can hit it as much as you want. But this is the only unskippable cutscene in the entire game. This like 30 to 40 second little cutscene here. So it is a nice little breather at the beginning of the run, but much of the rest of the run is very action driven with no breaks. So nice little breather here to just sit and enjoy the jazz music. There we go. Everyone gets their little solo. And we get our solo here with the sweet clown horn stylings. There we go. And if you're wondering what we get from this, well, we get a level up, which is very useful, but we're also going to get $50, which will be very useful for a later mission that we're going to have to do. But we're going to save that $50 for now. There we go, we can skip the dialogue before it even appears on screen. Perfect. Leveled up, and off we go. Now we're going to come over here and talk to Shady, who's going to be our shopkeeper. All the way in this corner. And we're going to buy some creepy tree cards, Suckums, and then also 2 costumes. These 2 costumes are DLC exclusive, but they are very, very useful for the run. They do a lot more damage than the standard base game costumes. We have one more music thing here with the devil. We're dueling the devil here because we collected all 3 of our pterodactyl costume pieces, but we still need the blueprint. And we get that blueprint from Little Bub here once we duel him. There we go. He's going all out with his violin or fiddle. And we're squeaking this clown horn here as hard as we can. There we go. Who do you think won? They agree that it's hard to tell. It makes no sense. But he gives us the blueprint. We instantly transform to the pterodactyl. And the pterodactyl can remove these leaf piles, which is super nice for navigating the overworld. We get this card here in the chest, which is very useful for battles. And we actually purposely ran into this snail so that we can flee and respawn at the beginning. We were very careful in the French Quarter to not hit a checkpoint so that we can respawn at the bottom here. Perfect. We're gonna jump back in the portal, which you might think that's a bit weird, but we're gonna talk to the crow again because now that we leveled up, he has a new battle technique that he can teach us. And this is a super useful battle technique to help get more damage on the enemies. We basically get attacked twice. There we go. So he's gonna have us do that 3 times to make sure we mastered it, and then we will be done with Mr. Corvus here. We won't see him for the rest of the game, but he's a pretty cool crow. There we go, 3 times, and we mastered it. Back in the portal we go. And now we're gonna get to the actual battle section of the game here. we're going to be trick-or-treating at all of these houses. And some of the houses have candy, and some of them have enemies. It is set which ones are which, but the amount of enemies in each battle is different each time. It's very RNG based. We got very lucky here with one enemy. That does not happen often. But we're gonna take the luck where we can get, because you can get up to 3 enemies per battle, so. There we go. And we're gonna use our first creepy treat card here with our pterodactyl friend. So this specific card allows us to take double the amount of turns. There we go. And we're gonna attack with this pterodactyl. Yep, there we go. One more hit to go. Perfect, okay. So another thing that is random from each of the battles, you obviously get experience and candy, but the creepy treat card that you get from each battle is very randomized as well. So we are looking for the Ghost Munch card during these early battles. We are looking for 2 of them actually, because we're gonna trade our duplicate to a kid to get some more experience. So we're hoping that we get 2 during these battles. We have about 5 or 6 battles or so to get those. Alright, and here you can see some of the other types of enemies. This is a machinist. It's very, very tech-based. They have different attacks than the classic crony monsters. Now we're coming up to this one, and this is an example of a house that gives us candy. Very nice. But we do have to go to all of these houses in this early game. But later on, we can pick only the houses that have candy, so that is very nice later. But for early game, we do have to defeat all of these enemies for the game to progress. Alright, we're gonna use our double card here as well. The double turn card does refresh every other battle, so it is very nice to use early game. We are going to be using some other cards as well later game, but for now the Suckums is a very useful card. Ghost Munch, there we go. That is the card we wanted. Now we need a second one in these next few battles as well. So hopefully we can get that. We will see here. Getting alright luck with these battles. I'm actually going to use our special here. The pumpkin has the very best special in the entire game, I think. It cuts every enemy's health in half, so it is super nice to have. Although it does cap at a certain amount for later bosses that we will see. Alright, we're going to attack this last guy here. Probably defeat it within the first 2 turns or so. Alright, here's a strategy we're actually going to use. We're going to purposely hit our timer early there to get a faster animation, and we got the Ghost Munch. Perfect. So we don't have to worry about the Ghost Munch anymore. I'll use Suckums here again. And we'll have our pumpkin guy take out the crony combatant, and then our other 2 costumes can focus on the machinist. There we go. So yeah, sometimes we get amazing hits. The timing is pretty strict with it, so it is a bit hard to time, but sometimes we get them if we're lucky. But anytime you see the whoops appear on screen, that is very much purposeful in order to get a faster animation. Although it does give us less damage when we do that, so we only use that technique if the enemy is at a low enough health. But we get 3 trick-or-treat houses back to back here. A nice little breather before we get right back into a battle. Alright, 2 again. We are getting pretty good luck with this. Oh yeah, we used Suckums last turn, so we can't use it this turn, unfortunately, but 2 amazings in a row. I'll take that. And defeating with the robot here. 1 enemy left to go. Alright, I'd say we had very good luck with this enemy draw early on. I think almost every battle had about 2 enemies instead of 3. Very lucky, and we got the Ghost Munch, which is very RNG dependent as well. So we're going to trade that into this kid here, get some experience, because it's super nice. It does not take up any additional time. If we did not get the correct card, we would have had to track all the way back to him at a later point. So very nice that we got that when we did. There is one more house in this lower section, which is this trailer over here. Let's see how many enemies we get with this one. 2 as well, okay. Not bad at all. I'm gonna use the special here, the pumpkin special. And let's see if I can defeat this. I don't think we're gonna defeat it, no, okay. 10 health left, so we are gonna have to take a second turn to defeat these enemies. But that's not terrible. Ooh, another amazing, and can we finish it off? Yep, there we go. Alright. We're going now to these upper houses. We're going to switch our costumes very slightly here. Here we go. We're going to switch the order of these costumes to fit the specials. And we also swapped out the pterodactyl for the superhero, because the enemies up here, they're a magic type more often. And the superhero is very strong to the magic type enemies. There we go. Let's use the special here. Perfect, and we're gonna use the superhero special as well. There we go. And we should be able to finish him out with one more attack. Nope, gonna need a second attack. Very close though. Finish him out with the pumpkin. Perfect. Alright, I am gonna heal. You can heal by using some of your candy. We do need a decent amount of candy early game, but it is very much useful to heal when you are low so you don't die. Alright, I am going to use the Succum's card, allowing us to take 2 turns on this character here. There we go. So we will be able to take out the monster enemy here. Now this is actually an instance I'm going to purposely get a nice instead of a whoops, because we're trying to fill those 3 energy bars before our next boss fight. And you get more energy filled up when you hit nice and amazings. We did get our first character filled, which is very nice. So we're gonna try to get our second and third one filled up here before we get to our boss fight. We do have one more house of enemies though, so it should be fairly easy to get, because every time you attack or are attacked by an enemy, that bar fills up a little bit more. Gonna get a whoops here because that bar was already full, and move on to our next house. So, whoops, there we go. This one is a candy house, but we get our final enemy house over here. Alright, 2 enemies. Not bad. Now, it is okay if we don't have our center kid's bar filled up, but we very crucially need that 3rd bar filled up. So, ideally we would have all 3, but it is okay if we don't have the center one. But this should fill the 3rd kid, perfect. So that will be ready for our boss fight. There are a lot of boss fights in this game. I believe we have like 5 total or so throughout the entire game, boss fights, so perfect. And each boss fight does have a consistent strategy, which is very nice. Some of them do have slight RNG, but the actual attacks on our end are very consistent. And we'll be able to finish it out here. There we go, no problems at all. We got all 3 kids' bars filled up. And now we are teleported down because we defeated all the houses. We leveled up a bit. But we see this kid Oral here. And Oral we're gonna actually see a lot later in the game. But for now, we're going to knock on his house. Try to get some candy, but no one answers the door. Oops. Alright, I'm avoiding a checkpoint purposely because we're going to use spawn manipulation later on. But now we are going to give some candy to this little kid. He tries to take us on that boat, but it breaks down. We skip that cutscene. But this guy over here, we give him the 50 bucks we got earlier for an oar. He said he would fix our boat and just gave us an oar. So 50 bucks well spent, if I say so myself. But we're gonna come over to this kid now. He's gonna take us over to this section, the Witch's Bog. And now we're gonna be ready for our next fight here. So the order of our fight that we're gonna do, let's see here. We're gonna do Pumpkin, Robot, and then Superhero. Perfect. We're gonna talk to these 4 kids here, the Witch family, because we're trying to warn them that their talisman is about to get stolen, but they don't believe us. So we talk to them, we have a little cutscene here, and then, what do you know, an enemy comes out from the portal. There we go, we have a very specific setup here. We're using Nubbins, which is a card that increases our damage, and our superhero attack, because there is actually a weird glitch here where the damage carries over. So the enemy that he just spawned, we took out from our previous attack. So very interesting little glitch there that we use. But we're gonna focus on the clock because that allows him to heal. There we go, the clock is done, and we just need to defeat him. Perfect, that was a very fast boss fight. And we're on to our next thing. We did get the Frostbite card, which is very useful. Alright. We purposely ran into this enemy here so that we can run away and respawn closer to the time portal that we started with. And perfect. The time portal will be here. We gotta skip a bunch of cutscenes here. A lot of story, but basically we were captured by the evil dentist drones and sent into a tooth academy to teach us all about the dangers of Halloween and candy and why you should brush your teeth. But we're rebelling and we were sent to detention. So we're gonna come over here and we're going to meet another character. We had to leave Monty in the bayou. We're not gonna see Monty for a while, but we do get to see Haley here, which is another kid that was sent to detention. But that is actually our friend Everett and Lucy, their daughter. So she joins our party. We're gonna have team up with her for a bit. But we're sent to detention here, mashing through some of this dialogue. We're trying to get out of it. We make some excuses. Hey, we're sick. But little did we know they have an eye scanning drone that says if we're actually sick or not. But eventually we complain enough to the point where our teacher here has to use the bathroom and leaves us alone. So we sneak out of detention, and Haley gives us a blueprint to our next costume. The teachers confiscated it, so we have to go in our classrooms and grab these costume pieces. Now we got a powdered wig. Take a guess about what this next costume is. Very interesting choice here, but we got a powdered wig, buckled shoes, and let's see what our third costume piece is going to be. There we go. And so altogether, we are Jefferson. Yes, Thomas Jefferson is a character in this game. We use our special there, which was diplomacy, and we were able to convince that janitor to move out of the way so we can get our costumes back, which is perfect. We are now equipping our specific creepy treat cards. There we go. Equipped the specific characters because we're having another boss fight right now, which is the principal. There we go. Principal Bojim here. This is a very tough looking monster principal, but he's a lot of health, but we're gonna take him down slowly. So we're gonna use the pumpkin special. There we go. We took a lot of his health out with that. And now we're using Frostbites, which is one of the cards we just unlocked. And that fills the special meter. We use that on the pumpkin because they have the best special of the game, and we very much use that whenever we can. using Pumpkin Special here, taking down a lot of health. And now this principal, who used to have 1250 health, now has a little over 300 in 2 turns. So a super fast way to get through that boss fight right there. But we're just gonna finish this up with normal attacks now. Also building our energy bars for our next fight in a little bit, but there we go. Getting off some of these normal attacks here. Couple amazings, which is pretty good. And we should be able to defeat him easily this turn. None of our kids even close to dying, so very good on health as well. And can we get it here? Perfect. We got Smoochies as our card. That is actually a very lucky RNG card right there, which we will use to the full extent later on in the run. It's actually very, very cool I got that on this run, because that is very difficult to get. Alright, we're gonna talk to Sadie here, and we're trying to convince her to help us out. There we go, we used Jefferson to help, and now we are going to go up here. We passed by Monty, now in the future. Grown-up Monty petting the gators. There we go. So now we only have to go to the houses that have the candy. So it's very nice we don't have to fight all of the normal enemies. Using a little glitch here called a wall ride to climb up this tree. Here we go. Got it pretty quick. So that saves a bit of time. Normally you would have to fight that drone enemy in the way and the snail there. So we skipped 2 enemies that we would have to fight. Going over to this house now. And we're gonna wait for this. I've gotten caught by this guy in some of my previous runs. There we go. I do like to take that a little bit safe. Wait a second or two. We're grabbing this costume chest here. And we are collecting materials for our another new costume. Coming down here to this last house with our last candy. And we're also gonna talk to this kid, because that is another, oh, there we go. That was another side quest that we are doing that was, very useful for gaining experience. Get up the ramp, there we go. So there is one more kid we're gonna talk to now, way over here, who will give us our blueprint to our next costume, which is a wizard. Oh, we're a cool wizard now. Talking to Sadie again, turning in our candy deliveries, leveling up, and on to the next area we go. I am gonna talk to Shady here, and buy, where is it? The superhero patch. Yes, that is all we buy for now. The superhero patch is an upgrade that we can use in the run. There we go. So there you also just saw the wizard's special ability in the overworld, which was lighting up dark areas. But we talked to that candy monster. Some of the monsters are nice and friendly, who wanted us to get some candy deliveries for him as well. We're gonna use diplomacy on this guy to have him move out of the way. Climb up here and get another chest. Do a little wall ride there. Yep, I do need to talk to him. Diplomacy. There we go. And we're gonna switch to pterodactyl. Hit that. I didn't get the little fast clip, but that's alright. If you flap your wings on that and talk to the kid, it does skip like 2 or 3 seconds of the cutscene. But no worries, we come all the way down here now. Move this out of the way. Talk to this guy, because we need what's in that last chest. Now this is a little skip. There is normally a mole that is there. Whenever you try to open the chest or get around it, that mole gets you and attacks. But there is a little wall ride we can do here. It's very difficult to line up. Oh, there we go. So we're gonna open the chest from the back so we don't have to fight the mole. Get around to the side. Perfect. So we skip that enemy fight. Now we're coming over here, getting these last two houses. And we need to diplomacy him as well. And then trick or treat. Whoops. I actually did not mean to do that. I meant to knock on this door. There we go. And now that we got the candy, now we go up here and grab our last costume piece for our new costume, which is a pharaoh. The pharaoh gets to slide down these little railings. There we go. All unlocked. Another level up, and down we go. Now we're gonna be careful because we didn't fight the mole, avoiding it. Oops, there we go. And back down the sewer we go. Alright, talk to our Mr. Candy Blob here. Complete that quest and slide all the way down. Now we're gonna talk to our final guy here. An elder. Use diplomacy to get the quest. And a little sneaky kid here. And now we go all the way up to our final trick-or-treating area. There we go. We are going to use diplomacy now on Shady to have him give us a discount. And we need sour dumps. That is a very useful card that we will use in battle. Coming over here and selecting the first house for trick-or-treat. And getting the kid... Whoops. Where is he? There he is. The fifth kid for the the hide and seek. Coming up here. And now we have a little dilemma with some of these elders. They're called Grubbin elders. And they want to promote their business. So they're trying to buy out billboards and sell contracts. So we're gonna have to talk to 3 of these guys. We just talked to the first one. There's a little way you can avoid this enemy here. This is the first cycle of him, which is nice, but we're going to try to avoid him. Once he stops, we can go along the edge here very slowly. There we go. Sometimes you do get caught by him, so had to take it a little slow there. Go all the way up here. Here's the last hide and seek kid. Gives us some candy, gives us some experience, which is nice for battles. And we're gonna slide down and talk to this next crow elder. We're going to need to use diplomacy on him. So we have this contract, he doesn't want to sign it, but we're gonna use diplomacy and he gets the contract. Now there's one more guy who has this big party, and in order to get him to sign the contract, we have to make him laugh, and we do that by using our clown horn. So that is the last time we use our clown horn in the game, but it is kind of a fun thing. Now give this guy back the contract. There we go, skip the cutscene. Everyone partying over here now. But we're gonna go back over here and get the last trick-or-treat from these houses. Perfect. Now we actually are going to use a little trick here. A wall ride that only works on a certain frame rate. Oh, perfect. Going back to 60 hertz. We fell all the way down and we can just go back up here and talk to this guy again. So that saves having to go backtrack all the way. A very nice time save there. And now back down the ladder we go. Turn in this quest, and now we are going to get ready for our next boss fight. Cards for this boss fight, we're going to use our new sour dumps. Let's see, we need sour dump seconds, which we have perfect, and then we're going to do pumpkin, Jefferson, superhero. Alright, on to our next boss fight. Now this is a pretty strong boss fight. Ophirion, 2,000 health. So he's gonna attack us here. There we go, we block it. We have a very special setup for this boss fight. We're gonna use our first special with the pumpkin. We're gonna use Suck'ems on Jefferson. And then Sour Dumps, this next new card, which maxes out all 3 of our heroes' special meters. Super useful. We're gonna use Jefferson's special, which is the Declaration of Independence. Alright, now we're actually gonna purposely save the Superheroes special, because that is more useful in a later boss fight than in this one. There we go. We are going to use the pumpkin again, though. Perfect. And then just continue our normal attacks for the rest of the fight here. Since we did upgrade the superhero now, they are orange and yellow instead of that blue color they were before. Their attacks are stronger, and they have a little more health now as well. So it helped with this boss fight for sure. Ophirion is targeting Jefferson a bit with his attacks, so there is a chance that Jefferson could die here if he keeps targeting him. But that's not too big of a concern. It would be a little unfortunate, but if Jefferson does die, it wouldn't waste more than 10 or 20 seconds. But there is a little bit of RNG depending on who he targets. Targeting Jefferson again. And Jefferson unfortunately died. But that's okay. We'll continue the fight with the Jack-o'-lantern and superhero here. So instead of 3 attacks per turn, we're only doing 2, but we should hopefully defeat our enemy on the next turn. There we go. And we'll finish off the enemy here. I'm gonna purposely whoops that because I know it's not gonna defeat him. And we can defeat him with this. Oh my gosh, the 1 HP left. But that was on purpose because he surrendered. There we go. So we defeat him, but then we end up getting trapped in prison with our parents. Or Lucy and Everett. So we're gonna come down here now. We're able to escape prison with the pterodactyl and the wizard costumes that we got earlier. Because even though we got trapped, they weren't smart enough to take our costumes away quite yet. Alright, we're gonna come up here now. And we got a ghost costume pattern that was left on a note from Corvus. So, we are going to be collecting our pieces for the ghost in this new area, this dental compound. There we go, we got our first costume piece. We're actually going to skip this second chest because we are very strict on a cycle with this snail here. This is a very difficult skip, but we're going to attempt it. Oh, just failed it, but that's alright. So we did unfortunately lose about a minute here. But that snail skip is very difficult to get. You have to use pause buffering in order to get it. But we will just defeat this snail. And then we don't have to worry about the special meters from the first 2 kids as well. Since we do have very strong superheroes, Superhero Wizard and the Jack-o'-lantern, we're able to defeat this snail in pretty much 2 turns. Ooh, we get some amazings too. And finishing him off. There we go. We're gonna use this costume piece here. A little wall climb. Talk to Shady for the final time. And we're going to buy the red dye for Jefferson. Now we no longer have to buy anything, so we are free to eat as much candy as we want in order to heal. There we go, we got our ghost costume. We're little ghosts now. We're actually not going to use it in battle, but we do use it for its overworld ability, which lets us go invisible and sneak through these barriers. Very useful there. Okay, for this next battle, we are doing Jefferson, Wizard, and Superhero. Perfect. Because we're now trying to free Lucy and Everett from prison. Oh, I meant to actually do the wizard instead of the robot. But no worries. We're just gonna defeat these. We're saving all of our special attacks for the next fight, which will be another boss fight. But we're able to pretty easily defeat these enemies in 2 turns. There we go. We're gonna purposely whoops here. There we go, and got him. Alright. For this next one, we need Jefferson Superhero Pumpkin. Got the correct costumes this time. And our creepy treat cards. Oh, it's right here. Whoops. There we go. We got our 3 cards that we need for this next fight. Now that our friend is out of prison, whoops, the boss we fight earlier was also released from prison, Chronoculus, who's a lot stronger now. For this one, we're going to use Nubbins on Superhero. That does our extra damage. We're gonna use this special as well. Oh, okay. So we did get a thing there that was a time freeze, which is a little bit unlucky, because normally we would want to do Frostbite on Superhero with Jefferson, but we can do it with Pumpkin here, and it'll be alright. You kind of have to work around whichever character Chronoculus decides to time freeze. Okay, we're gonna use our ability here as well. Reynold has finally become untime frozen. $50 health left though, so we will save our special and just use a normal attack with Jefferson here. And there we go, easily defeated. Perfect. Now we are going to sneak Lucy and Everett into the lab. Let's see, we need Pumpkin, Superhero, Jefferson, and we're going to equip our Smoochies card, which is super, super useful for the rest of this game. There we go. If we attack these enemies, we get a little extra damage on them in the beginning. Now these enemy fights are also randomized, up to 1, 2, or 3 enemies. We're gonna use Smoochies. So what Smoochies does is it refills all of our superhero special meters at the end of a fight. So we'll have them ready for our next fight. And again, that was a random card that we got very lucky in getting. So that is super nice for this run. We did get a little unlucky with the 3 enemies here, but I'm gonna use Suckums so we can defeat these enemies a little bit faster. There we go, just one more. We won't get it on this turn, but on the next turn we will. And we're gonna finish him off with Pumpkin. There we go. Alright, do I already have... I do. I do already have the correct card equipped, so we're gonna continue into this next fight. Oh, well, that is interesting. We get the one enemy on this fight now, which it's actually not too useful to do that, but it's alright. We're gonna use our first 2 attacks there. Into the third fight. Alright, we're gonna use this card now, and all 3 of our hero meters are full again. Perfect. We targeted the mage enemy first because he actually heals the other enemies. There we go. That was a little buff attacked, but he's probably not going to make it to that next round anyway, so we are all good there. Hopefully able to take out these 2 enemies. Oh, perfect. I think that amazing hit just saved us there. There we go. Okay, we are going to switch our superhero to the 3rd slot. Use Nubbins. There we go, we're just gonna attack with this guy. And now we should be able to take out both enemies with this attack. Ooh, no, just a little bit more, but that's alright. Alright, for this last fight, we are going to use Frostbite and Smoochies. Alright, so we will have all 3 of our special meters maxed going into the lab, which is going to be very nice for those enemy fights in there. We're gonna block all 3 of these enemy attacks. Alright, and then let's see if we kill these guys. I'm not sure if we will. It's gonna be close. Nope, okay. 54 now, but Jefferson will easily take care of him with his quill. There we go. Now we have full specials. Going to dodge this guy in the bottom here. Alright, going to lab, we're going to need Pumpkin, Superhero, Jefferson. And then for our cards, we're going to need... actually no cards for this battle. So, we're gonna attack this crow here, this little scientist. And we're gonna use our first 2 specials. Alright, so we were able to pretty easily annihilate at least 2 of these. Unfortunately, that guy did heal, so we're gonna have to take 2 attacks to defeat him instead of 1. But no worries, we're gonna need to easily wipe the floor with him. Bam! Alright, we have Frostbite, perfect. Going to grab this last key card. Goes through, switch back to Pumpkin. Alright. We are targeting the chemist here because they have the ability to heal. So we'll see if we can knock him out. I don't think we will. Oh, very close. Hopefully they don't heal. Nope, that was perfect. They attacked instead. Alright, and then we can easily take care of this remaining enemy. We are going to need another turn after this, unfortunately, but that is alright. If we had gotten one enemy instead of two, this would have been a little faster, but that's where the RNG element comes into play with the amount of enemies in each turn. Alright. Now, I'm going to remember to switch the positions of the characters. We're going to equip Frostbites and Nubbins. Ooh, let's get a ghost, because this guy's right up on us. Perfect. Now we can avoid him. Avoiding this guy as well in the front. We're going to specifically get this guy in the back, because we need that hot dog costume. Alright, that is a pretty good spawn here, just one enemy. So we should be able to take him out on this first turn. If not, it'll be 2 turns, but not to worry. There we go. Easily took him out, and we are going to grab this hot dog costume. Switch the position of these characters. We do a lot of costume swapping for the specials. Oops, I actually realized I don't think I have the correct card equipped. Small error there, so we're actually gonna flee this battle. Do I? No, yeah, I don't. So, really quickly flee this battle, but that's alright. Because we're gonna respawn right at the top here. Oops. Smoochies. Perfect. There we go. That's what we needed Smoochies for. And Smoochies is very, very important because at the end of this fight, we are going to have all of our specials maxed out. There we go. The chemist is taken care of. There's only one guy left here. We'll use the hot dog special, because this is the only battle the hot dog's in. And easily taking care of the last technician here. Perfect, we have all 3 of our special meters maxed, because the next fight is going to be the final boss fight of the entire game. But we have a little more movement to do until then. We got the clock back, which lets us go back in time. We're trying to find Dr. White here. See what he's up to. But he goes into this hidden room, which requires an eye scanner. So we're not sure how to get in. But if you remember, at the very beginning of the game, there's this little kid, Oral, who is a young Dr. White. So we are going to go into the past and find Oral and get him to come back with us. Haley goes with her parents, so we say goodbye to Haley, but we are on a mission to get Oral to come with us. So in order to find him, we use the wizard one last time. Kind of flash our light there to see his trail of tears that he left because he was kicked out of the house. But we're gonna go find him. There he is up top there. Zip across with the Pharaoh. And he gets to join us as the candy corn. Although he won't stay that way, but he's very happy. He gets to go trick-or-treating for the first time in his life. And we're going back down into the sewers, into the portal once again. And up the ladder we go. So now that we have Oral, with the eye scan, we can get into Dr. White's secret area. And we're very curious what's back here in this top secret warehouse. Well, it's a lot of fake houses made out of plywood where you can trick or treat with some robots. But we're actually going to trick or treat at all of these houses. They don't give us any candy, but we need to attack each of these little robots in order to get the costume pieces we need for our final costume of the run that we're going to get, which will be the robot. We're not actually going to use it in battle, and it's different from the DLC robot, because this robot we're getting here is completely non-functional in battles. There are some enemies walking around, but we are careful to avoid them, and we don't have to get in any unnecessary fights. There we go, just a couple more houses here while we collect the last of our resources. The little Oral got stuck, but he teleports back. And now we're a little robot, a floss robot. But they see us and ship us in a box right to his bed, where we steal the talisman. Super easy, just like that. But now we can zip back right into the final boss room. So I'm going to equip the cards that we need here, which we collected throughout the run. These cards are also RNG, so that was very lucky. We're going to be Pumpkin, Superhero, and Jefferson as our three guys. And here is the final battle here. So this is all very specific. This is actually the only battle that is pretty much not RNG dependent, because everything is set out to defeat him very quickly. So we're going to use this Peepers, which increases our damage by a lot, on Oral, who is attacking himself. There we go, blocking his damage. Dr. White does a lot of damage, but we are able to do this meticulously, using our special here. And then we're doing a normal attack with Jefferson. Perfect. So now we defeated his picks. He's getting ready for this supercharge attack. But we're gonna use our cards, refill our special meters, and then this is the best card in the game, Jellybeaks, which resets our cooldown of the other cards. So it is very useful. He does his big blinding smile attack. And now he has blasters to attack us with. But we're going to wipe out those blasters in one turn here with our specials. And a normal attack on this last blaster. There we go. He's charging it up again. We're gonna use our cards in order to get Jefferson to do his special attack. Boom, there we go. We are very close to the end here. This will be the last turn. We're gonna do a normal attack, and then we're gonna finish it off with the superhero special. And this will actually be a PB for me. A sub-hour PB. And time. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed Costume Quest 2. This was my any percent route. A PB during my submission video, which was very fun. So yeah, I'd love to showcase this at a marathon or any type of event. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Alright, bye-bye.